Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Nikki. For those of you who are new here, welcome. And those of you who are returning, welcome back. So today we are going into testimony 2 of this 7-part testimony series. If you missed the first testimony on how I came to Christ, I encourage you to go and check it out. I'll link it in this video on how I came to Christ. So this testimony is my first real testimony of like a tangible evidence of something that I prayed for, new in Christ, and it was for my first job out of college. So with this job, it was a job working at JP Morgan Chase in New York. I graduated with my bachelor's degree in journalism, and my dream job while I was in college was that I wanted to work for 17 magazine. I wanted to be able to interview celebrities. Like my ultimate job was to be a writer for 17 magazine at the time. So again, I graduated in 2010 and magazines were still a thing. So I remember praying and I said to the Lord, I said, Lord, when I went to college, I did not have a relationship with you and I did not know you. So I had applied for like a ton of jobs and I was not getting any callbacks. So that's when I prayed that prayer. And I said, Lord, I didn't have a relationship with you. I didn't know you when I chose this degree. So where do you want me? Now that I'm in Christ, now that I know who Christ is, now that I know that I should be living my life according to God's will and purpose for my life, I said, where do you want me? And I remember praying that prayer. And shortly after, my cousin went to Brooklyn College, and apparently JP Morgan Chase, they were doing like a job fair, and it came through her email. And my cousin was like, well, I know you're looking for a job. They're doing job fairs. It's worth giving it a try. And at the time, I'm like, banking, JP Morgan Chase, like, I want to be a writer, but I had to remind myself of the prayer that I prayed, asking God, where did He want me? So I ended up applying for the job. I ended up applying for a position and I went to the job fair because you had to apply and then they would send you an invitation for the job fair. And I went to the job fair and they were interviewing like a lot of people, like hundreds of people were there for this job fair that JP Morgan was hosting in 2011. This is now a year after I graduated. So I should say a year after I graduated, because I graduated in 2010 and it was 2011. So for a whole year, I won't say I wasn't working because I had another job before that, but I'm not even going to talk about that job. That job was, I believe God was just using that to build my faith. But my real job, my first real job in like a career field, I'm referring to here. So it was a whole year after. So God did provide for me in between that year that I waited to actually start my career, I should say. So I went to the job fair. They were interviewing hundreds of people that day. And I remember, I suck at interviews, you guys, if you can't tell by now. Like, I'm a very shy person. I'm an introvert. You know, I don't really like talking that much. Like, I'm more of a listener. So, I went to the interview. I did a horrible job, a horrible, horrible job on the interview. And I ended up not getting the position. I remember getting an email and them telling me, I don't meet the qualifications, yada yada yada. And I was like, okay. And I left it at that. But then the more I kept seeing at this point, so the job fair is over. And then I went on their website. I went on JP Morgan Chase website because I'm like, why would, why would I pray this prayer and God lead me to this opportunity, right? And not get it. So then I started applying for more jobs in banking now that, I kind of I thought I was doing it by faith, I should say. I started applying for more jobs on their website by faith, thinking, maybe this is where the Lord wants me, right? Because at this point, again, I still don't know where He wants me. And, faith without works is dead. So this was me putting my faith into action by continuously applying for jobs. So I was doing it on JP Morgan Chase website. So after maybe like I want to say between 2 weeks and a month had passed after I got that rejection. And I kept, when I went on their website, I was still seeing the positions that they were interviewing for in the job fair. So I remember, it just kept, the position was still in my spirit. And I don't know. I just felt like maybe this is where the Lord wants me. And I remember talking to my aunt and I said to her, I really wanted that job that I got rejected for. And my aunt was like, well, if you really want it, why don't you go and pray again and ask the Lord? So at the time, I'm new in my faith. I'm still learning to trust God. I'm like, but in my mind, I'm like, I already got rejected. Like, can you apply for a job that, you have already been rejected for? Well, if you've been wondering, I'm telling you, yes, you can, because I did go back and apply for the very position that I got rejected for because there were still openings for that position. So I went back and applied. I mean, it doesn't hurt to try again, right? So that was my mindset. And I went and I applied, and I remember praying. I think I went on a fast for the position. I did go on a fast, and I fasted and I prayed and I said, Lord, like, I really want that job. I believe that this is the position that you have for me. I believe that you're calling me into banking. And, I believe that you have the power to do this. And, lo and behold, I got another call, like maybe like a week or two later, after applying for the position, praying and fasting, I got a call from a recruiter from JP Morgan Chase. And this is how I know that it was God, right? This is how I know that it was God. Remember, I said to you guys that when I went on the interview the first time, I pretty much bombed the interview because I did horrible on the interview. Well, when the recruiter called me, she gave me the script. Like, whoever this, I can't remember her name, but I pray that the Lord blesses this woman, because the recruiter gave me the script for all the questions that they were going to ask me on the interview. I kid you not. This woman gave me every single question that they were going to ask for me to prepare ahead of time. If that's not God, I don't know what else. I don't know. It's, first of all, I don't believe in coincidences. Either it's God or it's not. That has always been my motto as a Christian. And I know that it was God, because this was the very thing that I was struggling with. I know what I prayed for, and God delivered. And she gave me the answers for every question that I was going to get on the interview. She didn't just give me the questions, but she gave me the answers. She told me how to answer the person that would be interviewing me. And I went on that interview, y'all. I aced that interview. I was very well prepared, and I was able to get that position that I applied for by the grace of God. And I give God glory and praises, because that was the beginning of me learning to exercise my faith as a Christian. And today I can say that after 13 years, I am still in banking. I'm still in financial banking. I'm no longer with JP Morgan Chase, but that was the opening to a new career for me, because that was not my plan for my life. If it was up to me, I would still be trying to write for 17 magazine. But it was God's plan for me. It was God's plan for my life. It was His will for my life. And every hardship that I have faced in my career in the last 13 years, I always remind God that, Lord, you're the one that placed me in this industry. You're the one that placed me in the financial industry. I didn't come here on my own. I had other plans for my life. So I always remind him of that, because one thing for me, like in my faith walk, I always try to make sure anything that I'm doing, I always want to know that I'm doing it according to God's will. Do you want to know why? It's because I always say, Lord, if this thing is not from you, I don't want it. Because for me personally, I want to be able to stand up and fight for anything that I know God gave to me. So if I'm in a job and I'm having a hard time in that job, I'm going to stand up and fight for that job, because I know God placed me on that job. And every position that I've ever gotten in the last 13 years in banking, God has given it to me. And yes, I went through struggles along the way, but I stood up and I fought for it because I know God was the one that placed me in that industry. I didn't do it on my own. And there's a security in knowing that where you are, God placed you there, and you can stand up and fight for that thing. Whether it's in a relationship, it's a job, a house, whatever. You want to make sure, as a Christian, you want to make sure where you are is because God placed you there, because you don't want to be waging unnecessary warfare. Like you're fighting over something that, guess what, God didn't even place you there, but you're fighting for it. What exactly? Because you're spinning top in wet mud. You're not gonna get anywhere with that. It's an old Caribbean saying from my country that we say, like, you're going around in circles, but for what? That's not even God's will for your life, and you're there trying to fight for something that God didn't even give to you, or you know you were the one that put yourself there, and you're trying to now maintain that thing that God didn't even say it's his will. That's the danger of manifestation, because you may try to manifest things in your life that is not even God's will for your life, and then you end up finding yourself in danger, and then now you're trying to fight for something that God didn't even give to you. So that's that. I've been in this industry for the past 13 years. There's also another testimony that I'm also going to link right now, that the job that I'm currently in, I was rejected for that job. And if you saw that testimony, if you're one of those people that saw that testimony, you probably was thinking like, how do you even get such faith to believe that God can give you a job that you were rejected for? Well, this is the reason why, because I was rejected for the first job I applied to in my career, and they told me no, but I still went back to God, and God gave it to me. And because he gave it to me in 2011, I believe that literally 10 years later, because this was in 2021 that this happened. I've been in this role for the last 3 years. I've been in this department, and I was rejected for a position that I applied to in 2021. And because I was rejected, I was able to get back down on my knees and say, God, like, if this is your will for my life, I want this position. I believe that you can give it to me. You did it before, and I believe that you're the same God that you can do it again. So yeah, I believe it. I believe in exercising my faith. The Bible said that faith without works is dead. And when I tell you, I strongly believe in exercising my faith. Like, I exercise my faith in anything, any chance that I get. I try to exercise my faith, because this is how you build your faith for those impossible situations, those situations that may look like so impossible, those mountains that may look like it's so high and it cannot move. When you're exercising your faith on a daily basis, when you come into those situations, you will dare to believe that the God that you serve is able to move that mountain. um every testimony that you will watch throughout this testimony series of how God blessed me in different areas of my life came as a result of me learning how to exercise my faith. If you are a Christian and you're believing in God for certain things, you have to learn how to exercise your faith. You cannot wait for things to just drop in your lap. Remember, I said that even though I went on the interview the first time and I was rejected, I still went back. Like, it was not sit, that rejection just did not sit well in my spirit. The more that I was spending time with God, the more that I was spending time in the Word and learning, of what God can and cannot do, which there's nothing God cannot do, because He is the God of the impossible. And if you have the faith to believe God for anything that is in His will for your life, it will be done according to your faith. Because if you don't exercise that faith, you won't see the manifestation of that. And I'm not talking about going out there and manifesting things. Manifestation is in the Word of God. But when I say it's you won't see the manifestation of your prayer, the prayers that you are praying to God and asking Him to let things be done according to His will for your life. Not you trying to attract the universe. No, it's literally you relying on God, praying and trusting God to deliver based on His word and according to His will for your life. So if you are currently looking for a job right now and you don't know, where you should be or where you should be applying, my first suggestion is that you pray and ask the Lord, as I prayed. And I asked the Lord in the beginning that, Lord, I don't know where it is that you want me. I have a degree in journalism. The job that I applied to had nothing to do with journalism. I had zero experience in banking, and it was for like a research analysis position. And that was the first position that I got working at Chase. So I had no experience in that area, but yet I trusted God. So sometimes it has nothing to do with your experience. It has nothing to do with what you can and cannot do. It's what your God can do. And it's what your faith will allow you to believe God for. Like, faith is literally, it's a currency. It's an exchange. Like, when you go and you pray, you have to go believing that God is who he says he is and will do what he said he will do according to his word for your life. It's an exchange that's taking place when you're praying. And that exchange that takes place, your faith has to be, intact. You have to believe. You have to believe if you're going to pray and ask God for things. Because if you don't believe, you're praying in vain. You have to have faith. But there is a scripture that says that if any man come to God, he must believe that God is who he says he is. And I'll put it here on the screen. I can't remember it for verbatim, but you have to believe. You have to believe in God. You have to believe that God is who he says he is and will do what he says he will do according to his word. If it's in the word, believe that God can do it. So just, if you're praying and you're trusting in God for a job right now, I'm telling you, your best bet is really to start with that prayer on asking God, where is his will for you? God, where do you want me? And he will drop it in your spirit. He will send somebody, as he sent my cousin to tell me about that job fair. Like, God works in different ways. Sometimes he might not speak to you directly, but he will speak through somebody else. Or maybe you may come across something on social media of somebody, saying, hey, this place is hiring or such and such. Like, you just never know how God will speak unless you ask him. So I encourage you right now to, pray and ask the Lord, God, where's that job that you have for me? Because he has prepared. There is a job prepared for you. You just don't know where it is. And sometimes you really have to be specific and ask God, open my eyes to see the job that you want me to have, because I've prayed those prayers as well. Like, Lord, open my eyes to see that which you have for me. Where do you want me to go? Tell me where you want me to go and I will go. Can't go if I don't know. Like, these are conversations that I literally have with God sometimes, like when I'm trying to figure out what it is that he's requiring of me in this season of my life, or what he wants me to do. So I hope this was helpful. If you watch this very short testimony to the very end, if you enjoyed this video, I humbly ask that you will subscribe to my channel and turn on post notifications, because I have 5 more testimonies coming in this testimony series. So, and I have some really, really good ones. So I hope that you subscribe, like this video, give this video a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. It will help push this video out to the algorithm and to more people. And comment if you have any questions that you have, or any concerns, or maybe you're looking for a job right now and you just need somebody to talk to, or you have questions, just comment in the comment section below and I will try to respond in a timely manner. So thank you again for watching, and turn on post notifications for the other 5 testimonies that will be loaded in this series. So thank you, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.